Hello and welcome to Forgotten Clubs, where today we'll be going through some football history in Denbigh. Apologise if the sound quality is a bit poor, having some technical issues with microphones, something to do with old school, so there's probably wind interference and all sorts of stuff on here. So the first reference to the Denbigh town name was in 1874, when a team called Denbigh Town obviously were captained by a T.C. Smalls and played a friendly match against the Volunteers. So we started seeing regular references to Denbigh Football Club in 1879, and in 1880 they are reported as playing in scarlet, so that could be the beginning of the red that the modern day Denbigh Town play in. So in 1882 they entered the Welsh Cup for the first time, but they lost against Ruthin in the first round. So they entered the competition again the year afterwards, and they lost in the third round against Llangollen-based Berwyn Rangers. There was also another competition called the Northern Welsh Association Cup. So there was a breakaway association from the FAW who didn't like that the FAW was very Wrexham centric, so they formed their own association, which turned out to be very Bangor centric, which was along the coast and the counties along the coast and that sort of thing. So they had their own cup competition, and Denbigh reached the final of that in 1884, but they lost against Bangor in the final at Rill. So in 1888 Denbigh was said to be struggling, and some newspaper articles asked the question, is there even a club anymore? And that was the last reference to them for a number of years. So in September 1890, there's a report listing a newly formed Denbigh Football Club who played in red, white and blue. So again, we're seeing the red theme carrying on. They played at Howell School, and they got changed in the King's Arms. So they existed for 2 or 3 seasons. They played 2 seasons in the Welsh Cup. They played 1 season in the Welsh Senior League, which covered a lot of North Wales. It was probably one of the first attempts, the Welsh Senior League was one of the first attempts to create a sort of it was the first league in Wales, and it was the first sort of attempt of creating a national league for Wales. Obviously transportation links were no good, so it was mainly based around the Wrexham area, and then had participation from like Denbigh, Rill, Bangor as well. It only lasted about 7 years. So in 1893 Denbigh were expelled from the FAW because they owed money for non-payment of fines. So then in October 1893 they were replaced in the area by a team called the Llanelli Rangers, who only lasted a season. There was some reluctance from the FAW and from the North Wales Coast FA to accept Llanelli Rangers, because they just thought it was just Denbigh under a new name. Nothing changes. How often we still see that now today, where clubs get into difficulties and then reform under a slightly different name or a new name, come back, same personnel, same players, everything else. So it's no different back then really. So Llanelli Rangers lasted for a season. They had the North Wales Coast League, played at Howell School as well. They're quite a violent club, so there's reports of violence in games against Llandudno and against Holywell. So after they folded, there appears to be a gap of a number of years without any proper football clubs in the area. I mean, the football was probably played, there was no clubs playing at a decent level in any sort of organised competitions. So then in September 1905, a new Denbigh Town Football Club formed. So they played at the Graig Field, which is the modern day rugby club. They played in red and black, so again that red theme is continuing sort of right the way through. So they played the North Wales Coast League up until 1909, when they then joined the combination. So the combination league covered most of North Wales and some of North West England. And in their first ever game of the combination, they played away against Tranmere Rovers at Prenton Park. There was a crowd of 4,000 there. And this league also contained Wrexham reserves, it contained Crewe reserves, and there was a team from Chester in there as well. I'm not sure it was Chester's first team or their reserves, I don't know, but it was a Chester team in there as well. So when the combination league folded in 1911, then Denbigh Town rejoined the North Wales Coast League. Obviously in 1914 all football stopped due to World War I, so the club re-emerged after the war, and then in 1921 they merged with Denbigh Mental Hospital to form a club called Denbigh United. And then after World War II the name Denbigh Town re-emerged again. There was also a club called Denbigh Church Guild who existed, playing in the North Wales Coast League from about 1906 to 1912. So I'm here now at the ground of the modern day Denbigh Town. We currently play in the Cymru North, which is Tier 2 Welsh football. So the ground's on the side of this fence here. Obviously quite a lot of building work going on, so I can't really get near it because of the building work. But yeah, if you're interested in football history in North Wales, and quite a few Denbigh clubs feature in my new book, Forgotten Clubs in North Wales. It's available on Amazon. So if you're interested, give it a read, and thank you for watching.